This is the Wally and Methot Show live. Now, here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Mark Methot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wally and Methot Show live, brought to you by BEI Bonisher Excavating Inc., helping to shape the Ottawa Valley. I'm Brent Wallace. He's the lovely and handsome Mark Methot, 13-year NHL veteran. Matt, we're going to get to your Halloween candy stash in just a moment. There's a huge show going on today. There's so much going on with Matt Murray starting and now Cole Caufield being sent down. Lots of stuff breaking at the moment. So I don't even want to waste any more time of us two morons talking. Let's bring in Kyle Bukauskas right away from Sportsnet and from Hockey Night in Canada. Bucky, how are you, sir?
How you doing?
It's a small list, so we're happy to have you, and I appreciate that you did your hair.
Well, but the thing is, I thought I did last time too. Like, if you go and check the tape,
no,
I don't mail it in
was
with
fantastic. Your hair is always immaculate, and I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if I said this last time, but I feel like Kyle's got like that Lego man hair, like the perfect hairline, and he just flops it on when he wakes up in the morning and gets on with his day.
Right. You and Ryan Kessler both share the similar opinion on that.
Did he say that?
Yeah. The Lego hair. So anyway, I don't know.
Well, I don't mean that as
how I got it.
It's not a disrespectful comment.
No, I appreciate it. Like, I'm hanging on to this damn thing as long as I can here. So I'll take the compliments while I can get it. Good to see you, boys.
Good.
When I just started in broadcasting, like at 19, 20, they asked me to dye it gray at one point to look older and wear glasses. And then at the end, they were like, "Can you dye gray?" Yeah, no. So hang on.
That's right. I was going to say, you run the full gamut here, right? Yeah, you went from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Glad you could stop by, because we probably have like a 2-hour show. I'm going to try and jam this all in, and Alex is going to probably throttle me at the end with changes that are going on. But anyway, first of all, Halloween last night. Matt, did you have many trick-or-treaters out at the estate? Do people come up that way and make the trek?
We don't do it here because there's a lot of space between like the properties. So you need to like drive from door to door. So we actually went to my brother's place at the other end of Manatic, and he's got a nice little tighter neighborhood, and we were able to really hit a lot of homes, and the kids loved it. But I had to like control the amount they ate because I didn't want two wiry, crazy children going to bed. So they were allowed 5-6 pieces of candy, and that was it. We capped it off, straight back home, straight to bed.
It is one day a year. Can't you just let them have whatever they want?
Wally, they don't know any better. So what's the difference, right? Like, for them, the excitement is going door to door, screaming trick or treat, and me having to tell them to say thank you every time. And then finally, when that ended, we got back home, got them undressed, and they didn't know any better. But I'm sure that'll catch on, as the years progress.
Did you dress up?
Yep. I had it was a Bush League costume. I think my mother-in-law, for whatever reason, decided to buy a Deadshot costume. It's like one of the characters in Suicide Squad, the DC the DC comic movie. I don't know if you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, Wally.
Yeah.
Kyle, you probably know better. But Will Smith played the character in Suicide Squad. So I walked around with that. It was kind of a fail. I have this Hollywood grade Predator mask. Like, it's all prosthetic and it's really over the top. I wore it last year, but it scared the shit out of my kids. So I didn't do it this time around.
Bucky, should we talk about your Halloween? Now, first of all, do you get trick-or-treaters to the condo unit?
No, we haven't. We've been here, I think this is our third Halloween here. We haven't had a one. We had the chocolate ready, so now we have to eat it ourselves, but not one knock on the door here.
Okay, so did you just get dressed up for yourself?
Yeah, well, you see, I was working on Saturday. Yeah, okay. I was working Saturday, on the road Friday, so that was typically the 2 days when everyone would go out and do their thing. I still wanted to participate. I was inspired. I wanted to have a costume this year. So damn it, I went out and did it. And I didn't even have anyone to come to the door to show it off. So anyway, yeah, there's the side-by-side. So have you watched this show, Mark? Like, do you know what the reference is?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't, no. Anyway,
my brother showed this, I Think You Should Leave, on Netflix. He showed it to me about a year ago, and yeah, my life hasn't been the same since. So it's I had to do something.
Look at this pic. I love the poses. Is that a custom vest from one of your 3-piece suits?
It is, yeah. And it just happened to be perfect for the character I was going for. So that came right off the rack, and then had to go find some other things.
It is good. I will admit, I had to go to Netflix and watch I Think You Should Leave, the series. I didn't like it, but I appreciate what you went to for this Halloween costume.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like it's not for everyone, and I'm very hesitant to be like, you have to watch this show, because the sense of humor on it is quite unique and out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I were to bet money, I would have placed it entirely on you not being a fan of that show, knowing you like I do, Brent. So that doesn't surprise me. But man, it's brought me a lot of laughs over the last year, where there hasn't been a lot to laugh about.
That's fair. I wish we had a picture of the Predator mask, but we do have one of you dressed up. We've scoured the internet to find one picture of you in a Halloween costume. Here, we should have made one up, but here it is. Alex, do you have this ready? I think are you a pirate?
So yeah, that was when I was playing with the Sens. I'm like some weird looking Victorian pirate. It was a disaster, but the guys liked it. They had a good laugh when I showed up. So yeah, that's at my old house.
No, but
the old days.
Yeah, I mean you so I appreciate that.
Well, I like to avoid, and I like kind of like what Kyle did. I like to avoid wearing makeup. I find makeup turns into a nightmare when you go to these Halloween parties. So any way I can avoid it, that was one way right there. I got that on Maryvale, somewhere on Melville. There's a costume shop there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so
I wish I had more
Titanic
time,
passenger.
we can move on. Yeah, exactly.
Say I will throw myself under the bus here, since I control perhaps how this show goes together. I found the only Halloween pictures I could find of myself, which were taken, I think, in the late 1800s, with its obviously you Flash. Alex, anytime you'd like to show. Oh, okay. So. Here I am carving a pumpkin. I'm the smallest of everybody. So I'm the guy in front just overseeing the whole operation, because that's how I would operate.
So is that a costume? Like, what am I looking at here? Just looks like you guys wore the same overalls.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were twins, but we're just carving the pumpkin, getting ready for our big night. And then we're going to go to the picture of me dressed up here.
Oh boy.
So wait. My mom didn't like my costume so much, she cut off half of me, a corner.
Oh, you're on
Which
the
one
far
are you,
right?
sorry?
Yeah, I'm the smallest one over on the right-hand side that you can't see. I'm half of a guy. So there's one final one I was able to find. By the way, these are highly flammable costumes back in the 1980s. And finally, Alex, one more. There we go. I'm the small.
You're like a little Frankenstein.
I'm the small guy. Yeah. That's where you just
cute
stick
little
them on
Wally.
over top of your
A cute little Wally that I'd love to just kick in the back.
Jeez. Why do I feel that like costumes were somehow lesser quality in the 80s, but way scarier?
Yes.
They were. Yeah.
Like if you four show up at my door last night, like I'm not sleeping.
Oh, there you go. So you just buy a bag, right? You get a mask that's really plasticky and it hurts, and then you get that thing you just put over like a dress.
Well, I got a good question for Kyle here. Kyle, did you guys go out on the weekend? Saturday night? Did you get after it a little bit?
No, we didn't. We're not big going out after the game Saturday. The game finishes and I still got to stick around the rink for a little bit. So by that time, I just want some food, and it's usually the same spot every time for a couple drinks, food, watch the late game, and then it's done. Yeah.
You're an old soul.
And I have I love the crew that I work with, but it's an older group too. So, it's not like it's a bunch of guys in their late 20s raring to go.
Well,
so I just adapt to my surroundings.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that you go out and party with a bunch of college kids. I meant maybe you go
I know.
to a Halloween party or something after.
Yeah, no. And I honestly, I didn't do my homework beforehand going, trying to find a spot in Toronto on the weekend. I just worried about the game. So my bad on that one. I wish I had a better story for you.
Okay. All right.
It's all good. All right. We've spent 10 minutes on Halloween. It's time to move on to some actual hockey chatter. Just to remind, keep the chat open. There'll be lots of discussion going on in there, including some poll questions we'll want to have you answer. As always, you can like and subscribe while you're watching it. And furthermore, this is a big month. This is November. And for the Senators, it's their busiest month of the year. The 15 games starts tonight in Chicago. We'll get to that game in a sec. But I want to go back to the last game, and that was in Dallas on Friday. A Southern hospitality, if you will, brought to you by Whitewater. Shop whitewater.ca and get 50% off anything in their online store. So a big 4-1 win over Dallas, as Meth incorrectly predicted. They snapped their 3-game losing streak. It all went well. Like, what are we seeing, Kyle, perhaps from this team as Brady Tkachuk got his first of the season? So did Connor Brown, Josh Norris with a pair. Stutzle and Batherson both had 2 assists each. Like, and then we'll get to Gustafson later too. A big game for a lot of guys on the road here.
Yeah, I think you mentioned we'll get to goaltending later, but I mean, that's a big part of it, right? Just giving them a chance. And he's been good in the 2 starts that he's made so far. So good on him and his effort. And I just think for a team that, wasn't built for the playoffs to start this year and have lost a couple of key guys along the way already, to be able to, and going into this year, even if they were fully healthy, I know the staff, the organization was a little worried about where their scoring was going to come from, if they're going to get enough. To this point, it seems like it hasn't hurt them, right? Like, it's that top line is so fun to watch. I thought, was it Norris's second goal? Just that one-touch pass from Batherson up top to him in the slot. Like, that was beautiful to watch. They're just in that zone again like they were last year. So for me, for a team that, undermanned, still a young group that are finding ways to get enough offense, and the fact that the goaltending is keeping them in it and giving them a chance to do that at the other end, it's pretty positive right now. And to put an end to a losing streak on the road there, it's a pretty good start for them. I know, Mark, I think you talked about getting 2 out of the 3 wins here on this trip. I mean, try to get one here tonight in Chicago and then get greedy from there.
Yeah, I agree. And and I'll admit, I had Dallas. I don't know why. I just expected more from them, and I was really unimpressed with them when they came into town. Even more so with the other night. I mean, especially at home, I thought they'd have a little more juice. But Ottawa was great, like you mentioned, and Gustin was awesome too. But you're right. If they can, even if they get tonight's win, perhaps forfeit one tomorrow night against Minnesota, because it'll be on a back-to-back, and quite frankly, those can be very difficult. Minnesota's rolling. You win tonight's game. I still think tonight's a bit of a trap game. It concerns me a little because this team hasn't won yet. But if you can look past that and they can get that win, 2 out of 3 on the road is huge. That's always the saying in a locker room when the coaches are talking prior to a road trip. You try to finish above 500, you come back home, and that's considered a success. So if they can get that win tonight, I think it'll be a huge advantage to them, right? Like, they'll be able to go in tomorrow night into Minnesota, play a little more free, a little looser, and hopefully that'll work to their advantage.
But I was thinking about this morning. Sorry, I was just going to ask, wanted to get Mark's thought on this. Like, as a player, knowing that Chicago, one of the 2 teams that haven't won yet this year, like, I wonder if that almost keeps you on the toes a little bit more going, guys, like, we don't want to be the team that actually does lose to them going in. Like, I wonder if that counts for anything.
For sure. No, you're bang on, Kyle, because you don't want to be that team, right? You don't want to be the team to give them their first win. They're struggling. We don't have to talk about everything else, obviously, that's happening off the ice right now, but that organization at the moment is in trouble, right? And then if you're just focused on the on-ice play, I mean, you don't want to be the team to give up, that first win to the Blackhawks. So I think for them, you're right. It holds you accountable. It almost feels like it's a must win, right? Like I said, you don't want to be embarrassed. So I do agree with you there. It works to their advantage. They're not doing a pregame skate this morning. You guys know how I feel about those. They're going to be fresh. The boys are going to be rolling tonight. Okay. So, and if they win, that'll absolve them tomorrow morning. And this was always something that we dealt with as players. When a coach would throw you a bone and you'd have that morning off, you absolutely had to play well that night, because you're just opening the floodgates to more arguments with regards to whether or not you should have that pregame skate or not. So they play well tonight and they get that win. You can bank on this happening a little more often. So I'm hoping for their sake. I'm praying for them that they can win tonight.
Okay, but here's the so I want to go back to then the player mentality, and that is, you look at this game as you should win it before you take to the ice. And we've seen an awful lot of times teams go in and they play a little lackadaisical, a little soft, because there's one side of, you don't want to get embarrassed by allowing them their first win, but the other side of human nature says, we're just going to have to take it. We'll take it easy and we'll still get this victory. So how do you play that side of things?
Well, I hate stepping over Kyle. He's our guest, but I'm looking at this team, Wally. Like, I would understand this if you had a team underperforming and, they still had the personnel, but this team doesn't have the personnel. They just don't. Like, I was looking, because I haven't been following Chicago that much. I know they're not playing very well, but I'm thinking like, what's the issue here? And I'm looking down their lineup. There's no depth. So when I look at their lineup right now, this doesn't surprise me. I think they should have at least 1 or 2 wins perhaps. But I mean, some of their guys, I mean, man, they're not getting any point production whatsoever. They're not scoring any goals. I don't mind their top 4 on defense. They've got Calvin DeHaan playing with Seth Jones. Shout out to Calvin DeHaan, a good carp lad. And then, of course, you've got Gustafsson and Connor Murphy. I like Connor Murphy. He's a good stay-at-home defenseman. Their top 4 is not bad. They're just really thin up front. And that's going to be a big problem for them moving forward, probably for the rest of the year. And I don't know how you fix that. They are a little banged up. They're missing, like that Jujhar Khaira. That's a role player, kind of like an Austin Watson type guy. Patrick Kane, obviously, Tyler Johnson. Like they are depleted a little bit up front. But even then, I mean, they're still underperforming big time, and they're not getting any production from their top 2 lines.
I think they get Kane back tonight, don't they?
No, saw that too. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, I saw he's off protocol.
I'm not sure. I just saw
he's off protocol though.
He skated today.
Yeah. Okay.
But
okay. Fair enough. Well, he might be in then. I don't know. I didn't think he was, but I could be wrong. You guys would know.
Yeah. I just think, I was in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago for that Penguins Leafs game where the Penguins had all those guys out, right? Crosby, Malkin, Carter, Letang, Rust, all of them, and they blew the doors off Toronto. And Mike Sullivan making the point before the game, like, his message to the group then was, everyone here has to make a positive impact tonight because there's no stars that you can defer to. And I just wonder if that's part of Ottawa's mentality for the time being here, because yes, they have some good young players, but it's not like they've got 100-point guys on the roster or Art Ross or Conn Smythe trophy winners on the roster yet. So I just wonder for a game like tonight, like I just don't know if they can afford to be in that, hey, we're okay, this team's not very good that we're playing here tonight type of mentality yet. Like I'm not sure they've earned that right yet. And you can tell from the first day of training camp onwards, the mindset from the coaching and the messaging from there right on outwards has just been different, right? They've attacked every day, and so far, even though they haven't won every game, like they haven't, there hasn't been any nights where the wheels have completely fallen off. Fair the Washington game, but at least they had the offense going too.
Yeah, no, those are unbelievable points, and I think even more so, it's relevant to Ottawa, right? You look at their lineup, and you nailed it right there. They don't really have. I shouldn't say they don't have star power. They obviously have some really bright stars that will emerge as stars, I'm sure, over the next year or two. But I agree that this is a team that's going to have to win by committee most of the season, right? Like they can't, as a third line guy, as a fourth line player, any role player on the team, you can't just mail it in and assume that your top guys are going to score every single night. I think this team knows that, which is great. And I think that's sort of that little philosophy that DJ Smith has sort of implemented into this lineup, into this organization since he's been here. It's that you have to work. And if you're not going to work, you're not going to play. And I think when you look across the board at some of these guys and some of the, and we can't gloss over the experience, like a guy like Nick Paul, like he's like the year he has last year, then he goes to the Worlds, gets a ton of more experience and confidence playing with all these other players. Now he's ready to rock. Same with Connor Brown. He comes in, he's also a new player over the last couple seasons. Like this team is always evolving, but I agree that, aside from maybe some guys lacking in points a little, we know Tim Stützle's been struggling to get on the board a lot, but I think he's knocking on it. But I do agree that if you can figure out that decor and they can get a little more consistency out of those bottom pairings, I mean, I'm starting to think more and more this team's got a legitimate chance. I've been writing them off how many times now, Wally, where I keep predicting and they prove me wrong every other night. So they're starting to look really good. And even the new fella, and I apologize if I mispronounce his name, Gambrell. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Gambrell? Yeah. Like he was 7 for 9 on draws the other night. Like he's a pretty good player. So they get a little depth there on that fourth line. So a prime example where you don't really have a liability on that fourth line. You can roll all 4 tonight, hopefully, and take advantage of that. And that's important leading into the next night, right? So if you can roll your 4 lines, you're not overdoing it with ice time with some of your top boys, and then they go into the next game on the following back-to-back and they're just gassed. You roll them tonight. You try to play a good, strong game. You stay out of the box. Don't play on your heels, and they're going to be okay. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. The way this team is built, you can just roll through them right now. And when you're playing against a team like Chicago, you have to take advantage.
Meth, I have a question for you from the chat. They want to know, has your opinion of Josh Brown changed at all? People seem to think that he is struggling of late.
Yeah.
Are you wavering a little?
No, I mean, yes and no. I hate giving you a vague answer like that. The last couple games, there's been some giveaways and some little miscues here and there. I really liked his start. I really liked his training camp. But you have to earn your way into the lineup, right? And you can't, once you do get into that lineup, you've got to keep playing strong. Otherwise, you're opening the door for anybody else behind you. In this case, with Michael Del Zotto waiting in the rafters to jump into the lineup. So I would like to see him just keep his game simple, not try to do too much. I'm trying to remember the game it was where he had that brutal giveaway behind his own net. I don't know if it was San Jose or Washington. That's right. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah. And it's like, that was just him trying to do a little too much, right? He tried to do a little toe drag to get around. I love the idea there. But I mean, a player like that, if he just stays within himself, uses his range and his big body and keeps guys to the outside, he's going to be fine. And he has to play tough and he has to finish his checks and he's got to be good on the PK. But you also, when you're that kind of player, you absolutely cannot afford to be a liability with the puck 5-on-5. Otherwise, the coaches will lose all confidence in you and you're not going to play. So my current stance on where his game is at is it's game to game. I think you give him another shot tonight, perhaps even tomorrow, and you see where he's at. And if he struggles, then there's no question you can take him out and you've made the right call. And I don't want to give up on him just yet, but I think, if Methot can play fairly strong and do all the puck moving for the most part, and Brown just stays within himself, he'll be just fine. But I agree with the people. There are concerns. I've got concerns. I'm wincing every now and then when I'm seeing him kind of fumble the puck, but I think that's also a confidence thing. He just needs to get a couple decent games under his belt and he'll be okay.
No lineup changes up front, or at least as the skater group, I should say, but we will see Matt Murray take to the net tonight. Kyle, I'm going to start with you. Is this the time to put him in, or do you, after, as you talked about Philip Gustafson early, 38 saves in Dallas, he has played extremely well. Just for people know, Philip Gustafson as a starter in his NHL career, 7-1-1, 941 save percentage, and a .199 goals against. He has been outstanding. I guess you have to get Matt Murray in the net. Obviously, he's your number one guy. Yeah. Is it tonight or is it tomorrow night? And I guess, is it tonight against the team that hasn't won a hockey game?
It seems to make sense to me, keeping in mind, of course, how good Gustafson was in Dallas, only because they've been in Chicago for a few days now. Mentioned they're a team that hasn't won yet. And just the fact that he can play in front of a fresher group here tonight, it seems like it sets him up for the best possibility for success here, right? Rather than, having to travel after the game and then go through, a bit of a different game day routine, second half of a back-to-back. Like tonight just makes sense, and then give Gustafson against a better team in Minnesota against Tuesday. So I'm not surprised by the move. Good to see that he's healthy again. I mean, it's only been 5 periods that he's played so far this year, but at least he's looked good in that small sample size. So let's see if he can keep it rolling.
Do you like the move? Are you okay with it, Beth, or do you just keep rolling with Philip Gustafson?
I'm agreeing with Kyle. I want to disagree with one of you guys right now just to get some heated arguments going. But in this case, though, like I love the idea behind it. You get him against a depleted lineup tonight. Try to get his confidence going. They need Matt Murray to get going here, and they need him to stay healthy. Now that's separate from obviously what the coaches have control over. Of course, that's personal. You have to prepare yourself for it. But like these injuries, I mean, I'd love to see them come to an end. But forgetting about that, it gives them an opportunity to gain a little confidence. But these games can also destroy your confidence. Like I said, Chicago's a sleeper right now, and this is still a trap game. I'm going to keep saying this because this could go easily 2 ways, right? But I think in theory, when you look at the lineup, you look at the numbers, this is the game to put him in. No question there. And then you've got Gustafson, waiting in the weeds for the much better Minnesota team on the back-to-back for the Ottawa Senators. So I agree with the move. I think DJ's making the right play.
And
okay,
two,
so I'm going to put up a board. No, that's okay. Go ahead, Kyle. I'll stop.
I want to hear Kyle. What were you going to say there?
No, I just thought because it's not like it's a case where he's coming off a stretch where he's lost his last 5 and given up 4 every game. Yeah. Right? It's just about him getting healthy again. So, regardless of the opponent, I think I wonder if it's almost more so the fact that, again, that they're haven't traveled the last few days. Like, it just sets up nicely, a fresh team in front of him, and then give Philip tomorrow.
Agreed. And before we get all down on Matt Murray, he is 0-2, but his numbers are .936 save percentage and $1.60 goals against average this season. Like, he's got very good numbers. The question is, if you show the board, Alex, of the 3 goalies since the beginning of last season, has your opinion changed to who should be number 1 in goal? Philip Gustafsson's numbers are outstanding. Now, I will point out that even strength save percentage, Gustafsson is a .939 and Matt Murray is a .905, while Forsberg's a .901. So while we are hard on Matt Murray, he's very good. He does have some pretty good numbers that support his play, and certainly of late. So I guess the question is then, do we go Murray Gustafsson as your 1-2 for the rest of the season?
Yeah, probably at this juncture, assuming Murray's healthy. DJ's made it quite clear, like, the best goalie's going to play. Like, after going through what you went through last year, where it killed you the first month of the year, now you're actually seeing some much better results. Gustafsson hasn't really shown any reason to not have trust in him. I don't know. Like, I guess there's the risk of then, do you waive Forsberg and you risk losing him? And knowing the injury history with Matt Murray, you want to keep him around. Maybe that impacts the decision there in terms of what the organization does. But like, if Gustafsson keeps playing the way he is, I just think he's going to force DJ's hand to play him more, because he's given them the best chance to win. Like, you look at the numbers right there and his results so far. Small sample size, again, we know, but it's clear that over the last little while, they've had the best chance to win when he's in goal, right? He's got 2 of their first 3 wins so far this year.
Yeah. And to add to that, you have to think about the psychological effect involved with the rest of the team playing in front of him, right? So Matt Murray might have some decent underlying numbers, but sometimes it's a little deeper than that. And that, when you're a player and you're out there and that, you've got a bit of an unpredictable guy between the pipes at the moment. It's a little shaky. He was injured. Then when he was playing, he might let in the odd soft goal, but he'll follow that up with a couple really big saves. That can kind of play tricks with the confidence of the group, and it can affect your play. So we'll look out for that as well tonight. I'm wondering how they're going to look in their own end around him. But again, there's no excuses, right? At this point, Matt Murray's a veteran. He's won some cups. Like, this should be routine for him coming back off an injury. So we'll see how he does. I am hoping for the best for him. It's in the best interest of the team that he does well. But when you look at Forsberg, like the next tandem behind Matt Murray with Forsberg and Gustafsson, like, you got Gustafsson. He plays a couple really good games. He's looking really strong. But then what? Like, if does he throw a few games off and then doesn't look really himself? And then the conversation comes back to square one, where we've come full circle. And now it's Forsberg who we believe we should be supporting, and not Matt. So this is a really difficult position for the team to be in, right? This is not like, it's a good problem to a degree because they've got 3 capable goaltenders, but choosing the right 2 is going to be a challenge. Obviously, as Kyle mentioned, in this juncture right now, Gustafsson's the man to have. I don't want to prematurely make that call because it's too early, quite frankly. You got to see him. I want to see him play consistent, and have some really good outings for like 20 games before I can make up my mind on this.
That's fair. And interesting to point out, I don't know what it matters or it means, but Marc-Andre Fleury will be in goal at the other end. Will be the 2 former teammates who used to be in Pittsburgh together, battling it out tonight in Chicago to see who can come out with the victory. I'm going to give you some notes before you make your final predictions and bets over at sportsinteraction.com/Wally Methot. They are Canada's odds makers, but the Sens obviously are the odds-on favorite to win tonight. The Sens have not won in Chicago. They've only got 1 win in Chicago the last 20 years. 1-6-3. There's 3-7-5 against the Chicago Blackhawks in the last 15 games, and they're 0-3-3 in the last 6 meetings. So I'm interested, if any of that stuff changes, how you predict
when was the win?
Game.
When was the win, Wally?
It was a couple of games ago, I want to say.
Okay, so in recent history.
Yeah, like probably. Well, seeing with the Sens changed the entire lineup, it's probably nobody except one guy that's still in the roster, like Thomas Chabot. Nick Paul would have been on the roster for sure.
I'm wondering if I was playing at the time. That's essentially what I was getting at. But I have such a shit memory when it comes to like my career. I can't even answer it.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up while I'm messing around. So, do you guys change your predictions while you know the numbers?
No, because what does that history matter to Drake Batherson or Josh Norris or Matt Murray, who's playing there for the first time as a member of the Sens? For so many of those guys, that's all, they weren't part of it when that was going on. Different Chicago team too. That stuff that doesn't bother me. I feel it's all about the here and now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, you've got so many new bodies. It's not the Ottawa Senators anymore. It's a new team, right? So right. I agree.
Mark, what was it like playing at United Center, the first time ever? Because I think for a number of these guys, they're going through that tonight.
Yeah, it was wild. Well, and that's the unfortunate thing right now, because when I was there, they were sold out all the time, right? We all knew the type of team they had years back, and now they've obviously broken their sellout streak. But that's not exclusive to Chicago. That's around the NHL. So I'm not going to make any assumptions there. It's not just performance-based. It's COVID-based, I'm sure. But what an incredible experience. That national anthem, Kyle, you and Wally obviously know all about that. What's his name? The anthem singer there. Oh
God,
he's got that
operatic. Jim Cornelison.
Jim Cornelison. And so the whole crowd is clapping, and I'm sure they've got supplemented sound over the stereo, but there's a lot of noise throughout the entire anthem, which is very unique from the rest of the NHL. Everyone's clapping and everyone's sort of singing along, and then all of a sudden, when he gets to the flag was still there, he kind of has a gesture with his hand where he points up to the flag, and everyone really starts clapping loud, and you get goosebumps. And that, and then with Chelsea Dagger, their goal song, which has created a complex in my head, obviously, because we used to get shelled there when I played with the Columbus Blue Jackets. We were in that division, and we were lucky if we got out of there, with less than 5 goals scored against. So I don't reminisce too much on those days, but from an Ottawa Senator standpoint, it was a little bit more fair. We were able to compete a little bit better with them, but I can't stress this enough. You make a really good point there, Kyle. Such a cool experience, such a fantastic place to play. And if people get the chance to ever watch a game there or go to Chicago, I encourage them, go to the United Center and watch the Blackhawks play.
We did the 2010 Stanley Cup final there, and people always get mad about how you dress if you cover the Leafs and you wear a blue suit, a Sens Leafs game, they used to think, oh, you're dressed up for your Toronto Maple Leaf guy. Anyway, I had an orange tie on. And at the end of the game, some fan just came after me and was like, go back to Philadelphia, you fucker. And I was like, dude, it's just an orange tie. Chill, right? And people get wound. So yeah, Chicago gets pretty excited about that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of dress codes, are you okay with the and Kyle, you're obviously a very well manicured fella, the way the NHL may be relaxing dress codes for certain teams? And we all saw the nonsense, I think, that happened with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and people made it a big deal. But do you like, or do you care what the pregame wardrobe is for players?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go ahead, Kyle.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't play. I played growing up where suit and tie was commonplace. Didn't mind doing it then. If that were to remain for certain teams to have that in place, don't mind. For those that are going relaxed, go for it. Detroit Red Wings, for example, they were in Toronto on the weekend. I saw them there. So they have a new code. When they're at home, they're suit and tie. On the road, they've got team-issued black tracksuits that they wear that look very comfortable. That's the one thing I always thought about. I mean, that's got to suck for a player. You play for 2.5 hours, you're sweaty, you shower, you get the suit back on again, and then you got to get on a plane and fly for 2 hours. That doesn't seem very comfortable. So for those that are relaxing, at least on the road, I imagine that's probably a little bit of a better feeling. All this stuff, tradition, I'm not big on it. Whatever you want to do, whatever, in terms of what you want your vision and culture and identity of your group to be. If it means suit and tie all the time, great. If not, no problem. Ultimately, it's what happens on the ice that will determine if you're a team that's respected or not.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I know I made some comments. I don't know if I made comments on this the other day on Twitter or not, but I forget now. But I always get the odd fan ask me about that. And I share the same sentiment. I love wearing suits. For home games, I'm all about it. I like looking professional. I like how I feel in it. But I also think you should sort of have a choice. I think I think players, like, being able to express themselves is a cool thing, and it's a cool thing to have, especially in light of today's kind of landscape with social media. And you see, the organization's Twitter accounts or Instagram accounts posting pictures of players walking in. You always see it with the NBA guys, and it's cool. It's cool to see how they're dressed, and it creates more talking points and all that stuff. But my issue comes, as Kyle, you just sort of mentioned, so I'm going to parrot it a little bit, but my issue comes when you're on the road and you're in Arizona and it's on a Tuesday and it's, you're going to pregame skate in the morning in the desert. Nobody is around except, and I made this in a tweet, where maybe the arena attendants, the people working at the hotel, you're not really seeing anybody. There's no media, there's no fans. And teams, of course, we have a dress code, and I'm not blaming general managers. This is just tradition, and it's hard to break tradition, as we all know. But, like, where's the common sense there? You know what I mean? And then you skate. Some guys like myself would sweat profusely, like crazy. And, people, like, I got one guy message me, well, don't you shower after? I'm like, yes, but I haven't cooled down yet. So even after my shower, I'm still leaking like I've run a marathon, right? And then I put my nice, like, you're on the road, so you only have maybe 2 or 3 dress shirts. I'm throwing my dress shirt on. I might as well burn it after I get to the hotel. And it's like, for what? Like, why am I doing this? So I feel like there needs to be a little more wiggle room. And another guy, well, that's a first world problem. Am I not allowed to complain about stuff that are happening in my line of work?
You are.
Without sounding like a prima donna? Like, am I not allowed to make comments? No. So that was just an idiotic take by that donkey. But in any case, so
you're wound.
You should be able to wear a suit if you want to wear a suit. You should be able to not have to wear a suit if you don't want to wear one. Obviously, when you're not wearing a suit, you're not going to dress like a slob and come to the rink in Lululemon or dress pants or in sweatpants. You're going to look appropriate. So I think it's got to be discretionary a little bit. And again, obviously a passionate topic for me that I'm probably putting too much weight into, but that's how I feel.
It's
no, but that's
like
what
Kramer.
makes it interesting.
It's like Kramer, Seinfeld, right? Shower didn't take. The hair's still damp and greasy.
Oh, that's a great reference.
Because I think probably before I was more traditional, suit and tie all the time. But I remember a couple of years ago when the Leafs again were playing in Ottawa on a Saturday, and so they would stay at the Brook Street. So it's like a 7-minute bus ride over, and then they come walking in. And I remember just seeing like Ron Hainsey walking in. He had the toque on, had a suit, and like he hadn't even gotten through the doorway into like their little change area, and like he's already pulling the tie off. And I just thought, like, like what was the point of that? Like for 20 minutes of transport, like what's the point of having to dress up? So anyway.
Exactly. I think if you're the home team, there's an argument to be made there because you're around a lot of people and you're meeting with people after games and you want to look professional. But I think as a road team coming in, like, I think there should be a little more wiggle room there. But again, hot topic apparently, and I'm sure people can counter to these points very easily. But I think I agree with you, Kyle. Like, what's the point in going from the Brook Street Hotel in the middle of January into your bus, into the rink? Nobody sees you, and you're already yanking your tie off in the hallway. You know what I mean? It's like no common sense involved there.
I think there should be a mandate of perhaps like a leisure suit, like a 70s velour casual comfy suit, like a sweatpants suit. Then you're in like a purple. Then you're set. Everybody has to wear the same one.
Well, the worst is in the American League. So when you're busing for like 3 hours to play a road game, and some teams are good. Like when I played in Syracuse, we wore tracksuits. Smartest thing ever, because you do look uniform at least, and it's comfortable, right? Because everyone's kind of lounging on the bus, and you're laying down. Like, you can't wear a suit. But there are some teams that do wear suits, and like, to me, that's criminal. Like, you can't justify that, especially at the American League level. Like, you're barely making any money in most cases for most players, right? And you're wearing some dirty old Marshall suit, or I don't know what the equivalent of that would be up here, maybe a winter suit or something off the rack. Like, you'd look better. Your pants are likely going to be more tapered in a tracksuit than some of those Bush League suits you can buy at those discount stores.
Yeah, TJ Maxx.
All right, well, we'll move on before we get in trouble. Speaking of dress code, Neville Gallimore in Dallas on Friday night. He goes right. He's going to his first NHL game. He's from Ottawa. Just so people don't know, plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He's from Ottawa, so he goes in wearing his Sens jersey, all nice and proud. Well, obviously, like any good team, the Dallas Stars found out about this, took down jersey to give him. Now, It looked awkward. My question is, Meth, what do you do if that's you at the game?
Oh, that's hard because you're playing in Dallas now, right?
Yeah.
I think, I'll be honest with you, I thought he handled it perfectly because he gave love to the Ottawa Senators. He was rocking the Sens jersey. That establishes that. We know that he's a fan. And then, of course, you're playing in Dallas. Naturally, they're going to see you in the stands. They're going to bring you one like they did, and he puts it on. I had no issue with it. He appeases both fan bases and looks like a good guy. And he looked like he was enjoying himself, having a good time. He was animated with the fans. He was taking pics. Just seemed like a really good dude. So I'm a huge fan now.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. He did take it off after, which made me even chuckle some more. Like, I just appreciate the fact he's like, you know what? I'm still cheering for my hometown team, no matter how many jerseys you give me at the moment.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I wonder if it was 3-0 Dallas after one. Like, I wonder if his reaction would have been a little different. But good on him for sticking with his hometown team.
I'll just keep that jersey on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's my question. Kyle, did you like the Dallas jerseys on the ice that night?
I kind of did. Like, they looked sharp. They stood out. I don't know. I mean, Dallas or Matthew, you'd have a better opinion on this, given you played for that organization. I mean, they've had some ones over the years where I went, no, thank you. Like, I think about the one, like the Mike Modano era towards the end, the bull with the red trim.
Played
like,
against them.
Never again.
It wasn't a good one. I agree.
Yeah, I don't mind like the kind of the color rush. Like the NFL did that a couple of years ago, right? The Thursday nighters, they always had those kind of color rush type jerseys. It reminds me of that. They look sharp on TV, and I saw like Chris Moore with the Sens said they look great in person. I didn't mind them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a huge fan of them too. I think they're sharp, and I love the color scheme. It reminds me of the movie Tron. I'm a huge sci-fi guy. I'm a fan of their jerseys.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, of course you didn't.
Yeah, Wally, what should they be wearing? Like tuxedos? Do you want them to wear a tux on the ice?
Right. A tuxedo has nothing to do with a jersey to another jersey. We're just I just didn't like it. It was too dark to me, or there's just something about it I didn't like.
What are you talking? They had like highlighter green on them. How are they too dark?
They were wearing like rave glow sticks all over their jerseys. They're too dark.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. We're just fine. I'm allowed to decide if I like the jersey or not. I would not.
I know. And that's fair. And there were people being critical of them.
No.
It's like a neon sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I appreciate them stepping outside the box though, because people get way too excited about how a jersey looks, and they're like, how can you do that? You know what? Have a little fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so lots still to continue with this show as we fumble our way around through here. Just a reminder that the show is brought to you by BEI, Bonisher Excavating Inc. Go to bonisherexcavating.com. Meth, I meant to ask you this off the top just as Kyle came on. This is going to go in the chat question, but I have one for you as well.
Okay.
Who has the best salad? Eastside Mario's, Olive Garden, or Kyle Bukauskas?
Jesus.
Well, Kyle's got the best salad. I mean, I'd love to chirp the guy, but his hair is immaculate. So, and Eastside Mario's salads are just an absolute disaster. So I'm going to go, I like Olive Garden, but Olive Garden's got an edge only because we used to go there for pregame meals. I look back now and I just shake my head like, what was I thinking? We'd just pound those breadsticks with the Alfredo sauce that would come in like one of those boat casserole plates. And you just douse, like, and that's for a pregame meal, like with a bowl of pasta. Anyway. I'm off topic here. Kyle's hair reigns over all those salads. No question. I aspire to Kyle and his hair.
No, Mark, you're being too kind, but mine doesn't come with the all-you-can-eat breadsticks. That was going to be my point. So you have to take that into consideration. This is all you get. There's no add-ons. Nothing on the side here.
Fair enough.
I don't know where I should go from there.
Yeah, where do we go from here now, Wally? We're talking about salads.
Can we go back to goaltending for a minute? Because I didn't ask one question, and that is, what happens if Matt Murray struggles tonight? Is there a goaltending issue in all?
I don't want to touch that. Kyle, you go there, please.
I think he just needs to get through the game, Mark. Guys, like I think this is a guy that again has only played 5 periods so far this year. So health-wise, I think that's the first thing. and then figure out if he's able to get into some sort of rhythm. I haven't seen anything in terms of his play through training camp preseason to his little bit of action in the regular season that suggests we're going to see something similar to last year, which is encouraging. I think guys just got to get healthy first, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. And we were making jokes earlier about the whole goalie situation, but I do like the way he was playing. Like, think the most recent sample size I can think of, obviously, is the Rangers game, and I was there. He looked so good, like he was composed. He wasn't panicking, like a big contrast from last season. So I'm with you. I think we do it. Like, I'm sick of saying we have to be patient. I want to get that out of my vocabulary. I think with him, pressure's on. There's no question. And he has to deliver. He has to perform. He's got the big contract, and he's here. He came in here to be the number one guy, and that's what comes with it, right? If you're not going to perform, you're open to scrutiny. So I agree. He's got to get healthy. Assuming he is healthy and he's in there tonight, which he is, he's got to play well. And I'm sure we'll see a good outing from him. And a lot of that also comes down to the players in front of him. If they can support him properly, he gets a couple shots under his belt early, starts feeling it, he'll be okay. But I think the point I'm trying to make here is that the pressure is absolutely on Matt Murray, whether you like to admit it or not. And at this point, it's how he handles that.
Kyle, before I forget, another topic, and that is goaltending with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I only mean in the emergency backup type e-bug situation, because you've covered in Carolina and then with David Ayres, and then you were the other night in Toronto, and now I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Alex Bishop.
Were you hoping that Alex Bishop, that's what it was. Clark was in my head and I couldn't get anyway. Were you hoping that he would make it into the game?
Well, then you're kind of wishing ill will on Jack Campbell, which I would never do, right? We were talking about, what are the chances? Like, how big of a lead would Toronto have to build up for Sheldon Keefe to throw him in for like the last minute and a half of the third period, right? Just to give him the bright lights for a little moment there. So no, I never thought of it that way, because you don't want to see somebody go down that will result in that situation. But I was incredibly fortunate to be in the building the night of the David Ayres game. That was a once in a lifetime scenario. So I figured, what are the odds of that happening twice? So I wasn't giving it too much thought, but it was a great story. Like, his parents and sister were in the building there, and you could tell he spoke to the media afterwards, and just a night that he never clearly thought was going to happen. I mean, he had a pretty decent major junior career, but I think he was at the point where, his dreams of making the NHL was kind of sailing. So to get a night like that, I thought that was really, really neat.
Yeah. I'm all for those feel good stories. I think they just, whether it's a movie or not, but they just turn into these great things that have always happened. You think of David Ayres. Everybody now talks about David Ayres and what that must mean for him, just for that moment. Like, we're all that guy for a moment, right? Of, man, if we could just get called in for one moment, just to sit on the bench, I would do anything, right? There's also a bad Tony Danza movie about a Philadelphia Eagle garbage. He's a garbage man and ends up being a kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a bad movie, but it's the same idea. Anyway. Well,
remember those, like, a long time ago, those series of MasterCard commercials where the guy dreamed of driving the Zamboni and eventually makes it to the NHL. Yeah. He gets to drive around the Zamboni in the NHL, right? Dorsch, there's been an injury. You're going to the NHL. Like, it's just so relatable.
Yeah. Man, that just brought me back. Yeah. That's awesome.
All right. Moving on. Biggest surprise in October. Is it Florida, Calgary, Buffalo, maybe even Chicago at the bottom? Like, is there a surprise? Easy. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
No, this is Buffalo. Like, are you kidding? I think most people, most pundits, most media people, fans, all had them at the bottom of the league. And you look at them now. I mean, they're killing it. I don't understand how they're doing this. And you look at the division. Like, I had them written down here. Like, they're ahead of Tampa and Toronto. Those are my top two teams going into the year. Now, we know there's been some injuries in certain teams, and of course that plays a part and a big role in that. But I don't have any idea how they're doing this, other than I'm really happy for Craig Anderson. He's running right now at a 1.98 goals against average for the Buffalo Sabres. That is insane. So to me, they're the biggest surprise. They're playing with no Eichel, no Reinhart. They've got a couple other guys that are out as well. and they're managing to kind of rally together. And Kyle had a really good point earlier when he talked about Pittsburgh with that big win against Toronto with a depleted lineup. It's kind of like this when you're playing at the NHL level, or most pro teams, where you miss a couple big players in your lineup, or maybe you're not that deep. Everybody just seems to elevate their game. You're running on adrenaline. You're trying to prove a lot of people wrong, and that is a powerful drug when you're an athlete. When you have an opportunity to prove people wrong, it's an incredibly motivating strength to have in your arsenal, and that's what they're doing. And I'm happy for them. And I think most importantly, I'm happy for the fan base. They're such a great sports town in upstate New York. It's blue collar, and the fans have always supported that team. They've always been behind them, and we're seeing it now, and they're getting a little success. Now, I don't know if that's going to continue on for the whole year, but if they even can stay within contention, like right up in that range where they're vying for a playoff spot come the end of the season, it's, to me at least, it's considered a success.
Kyle.
All right, good. So I did not see Buffalo coming. I'll give you there. I'll go with Calgary just for now, just because, especially with their first couple of games afterwards, it seemed like, man, like this could go off the rails really early. And then for them to go out east and be perfect, and like Jacob Markstrom, 2 shutouts in 3 games, and neither of them easy, like faced a lot of shots. This was a stunner for me. Like it just seemed like there was kind of a cloud hanging over them. Like, what's the status of Johnny Gaudreau? Like Sean Monahan moving down the lineup. Like it just seemed like it was all had the makings of just being a mess out of the chute. And so for them to be 6-1-1 now, credit to them, because I did not see that coming at any point. So that to me early on here, we'll see if things balance out over time, but that was the shocker for me out of the gate.
Matt, going back to your point, when you talk about no Jack Eichel, could this possibly be why they are where they're at, is because there's no Jack Eichel? And I think he is perhaps, from what we have seen in a very limited supply here, that a polarizing figure in that locker room.
I can't, excuse me. I can't picture that player being a cancer in a room, or any of those kind of things that you would kind of consider as a bad teammate or whatever. I don't see it with him. I still believe that player is an elite player. I think when he's healthy, he's a potential. In today's landscape with a lot of the young players coming in, it's hard to really put a number on him, but I'd say he's still a top 20 player in the NHL when he's on. You could argue much higher than that, but it brings you into all kinds of fun little conversations that you can have with it, right? I know we've had some people in our market here in Ottawa play with the idea that maybe they could go after Eichel and bring him in, and I don't know where he would fit. I'm sure you could make room for a player of that caliber, but my argument stays the same. I don't know how comfortable I am going after a player with that type of injury. I hope nothing but the best for Jack Eichel, because I know what it's like to get injured at the NHL level and have to play through it and get it surgically repaired. And we're talking about a player's neck, and we're talking about a couple surgeries that are pretty invasive, and the timeline, like the one surgery that apparently Eichel's electing to have that he wants, has never really been done in a current participating athlete, I believe. I might be wrong with that, but if I remember correctly, yeah, exactly, in hockey, yeah. So, I wouldn't, because you got to think here, to get a player like that, you'd have to. I'm not going to start throwing off names, but you're going to give off you're going to have to trade away some pretty big names, like ready now game players, right? Like at least one big player, a couple first rounders, yada, yada, yada. Like you're going to have to throw the kitchen sink at Buffalo to get a player like that. That's even with the potential surgery here looming around the corner. You guys can correct me. Has he not had his surgery yet? Is that still on the table? Like how idiotic is that, right? Like this could have been done in the summertime with the potential of being relatively healthy by training camp, or at least by the regular season. They've wasted all this time bickering back and forth over the surgery, which is incredibly unfortunate. And I feel like it just takes away all the leverage that Buffalo could potentially have, right? So at this point, you've got this elite player with a looming neck surgery around the corner that he hasn't had yet. It's like, why would anybody touch that? I'm sure there will be at some point here. I know there's been some rumors that Dreger reported that it was heating up and the conversations are happening with other teams. But if it's me and I'm the Ottawa Senators, I wouldn't touch him.
Yeah, I just wonder just the fact that whole situation is now, at least for the players in Buffalo, like it's not around them anymore, right? Like they know he's not here, he's not going to be here. Like let's just go play. And I wonder, like I think back to a few years ago, the Matt Duchene in Colorado. When he eventually got flipped here to Ottawa, like Colorado had come off like a historically bad season the year before, got off to a brutal start. Made that trade, somebody that no doubt is a good player, but it was clear he didn't want to be there anymore. And then all of a sudden the team takes off, made the playoffs that year, and have been in every year since. Like I just wonder just about, regardless of, is he a good guy, a good teammate, just the fact that this is somebody and a situation that has been very uncomfortable for a little while here now for the players there in the Sabres dressing room to have that put off to the side now and in the rearview mirror for them. Management's a different situation, but they can at least now just go play and not worry about what's going on with our captain or now our ex-captain. That's in the past for them now. So I wonder if that's kind of helped fuel their freeing start out of the chute.
Yeah, it for sure does.
And I think same thing.
Yeah, like you can't argue with that, right, Wally? I mean, that's your classic distraction. We always talk about this. GMs are always like, well, we don't want any distractions during the season when it comes to contracts and injuries and all that stuff with star players. There's no exception here. I mean, he might be a good guy, but that's still a major distraction in the locker room if he's there with the group right now. But I'm curious. I wonder, is he is he even around the room right now? Is he going in there with the group? When you're typically an injured player, they like you to come in earlier than the main group. You get your stuff and your treatment out of the way, and then you kind of you hit the road after, so you're not around the group. Because when you're a player, and I can speak on this because I know what it's like when you're a player and you're grinding and you're in it every day. And you're practicing, you're playing, and you've got a couple injured guys, and they just look like they're on vacation, right? They look like they're hanging around the room, they're laughing, they're in a great mood, they're still getting paid, but they're not actually playing. They're not going to war with you every night. I can understand now why teams prefer to kind of keep it staggered a little, but at the same time, it's incredibly isolating for the injured guys, right? Like you're not around the group anymore. So I feel like that adds incentive to get healthy, do all your work, get back soon. So I'm wondering, I guess my question is Eichel being separated from the group right now so he's not a distraction, or is he, are they keeping him around the boys? Those are little things that make a big difference.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's around the room right now. I can't imagine he's actually even around I'd be shocked if he's around the organization, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
Totally.
I don't know. Kyle, do you know? Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I would feel that would be the play. Like, again, not knowing medically how you go about treating his neck in the meantime, but we know he needs surgery. So I don't know how much else you can do in the meantime. Clearly he's not skating, not playing. Like, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any value with him being around the organization. He's no longer the captain. It's clear at some point what the resolution will be and that he'll move on from the organization. I'd be shocked if he was within 3 miles of that place.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, Kyle, what's coming up next for you? I know you're always busy. You're always traveling. Anything exciting in the works?
No, I just continuing on through this season. We've got Boston, Toronto this Saturday, and then onwards from there. I'll be busier at the end of the month. I'll see Ottawa again here at the beginning of December, a Wednesday night against Vancouver. So looking forward to that. But it kind of just changes week to week depending on what we've got on the weekends. And in the meantime, I'll be in town here and at the rink when the Sens are. So nothing standing out in terms of what's coming up, but just the usual schedule. It's just nice to kind of have more of a routine and regular schedule from what it was last season again, and being able to go into different buildings and be in the crowds again. It's been really cool.
Nice.
Now, I know your girlfriend, Dana, cooks a lot for you, but what's the one dish that you can cook?
I can do steaks. Yeah, I think Mark and I had this conversation last year. So one of our pandemic purchases was a cast iron pan, which I was against initially, but Dana insisted we get it. She's like, you can do steaks on it. I'm like, I'm not doing steaks on a pan. They belong on the grill. But she convinced me to try it, and I found a couple different recipes, took a little from this, little from that. And now I can't do it any other way except for, summer barbecue season. It is
exactly.
Man, it's so good. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like how even, and it's just like, there's no question, right, Meth? Like, when you do your 3 minutes up top and 5 in the oven, it's the same every time.
Every time.
Nowhere near well done.
Yeah. And it's funny. Another
way
I
brought this up.
Yeah, well, the burgers, like if you cook burgers on the cast iron pan, you got to cover it obviously because you got to keep the heat on. You don't want to just sear both sides. But hamburgers on a cast iron pan are game changers, and never go extra lean. You want a little bit of fat in there, and you can maybe play with it, put in some peppers or some cheese or whatever you want. And man, I swear by now, like red meat especially, once the fall rolls around, it gets too dark, late fall to barbecue outside, right? And it gets a little cold. I go back inside for the cast iron all winter, and it's a game changer. Agreed.
I know. So reliable.
Yeah. What do you think, Wally?
Gosh, you're missing out. Yeah.
I see you breaking off pieces of rosemary and throwing it in the pan.
No.
Right?
Well, you can. No. I don't do that. It's salt, it's pepper. I put a shitload, and I cook it on butter. I've tried olive oil and stuff like that, but the smoke points are hard to play with. I just put a lot of butter on the pan and I let it ride.
Yeah. So I do the canola oil. I think it's got a bit of higher smoke point than olive.
It does. Yes, it does.
So it hangs in for a little bit longer. Yeah. And I just do the Montreal steak spice and once I flip, a little bit of butter on top and then in the oven.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too. I barely let it touch
Wally,
the pan,
nobody asked you, Wally. Wally's not allowed to comment on food right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably just
last question before we let you go. Best leftover candy: rockets, chocolate chips, or candy corn?
Chocolate. I'm a chocolate guy. Like Kit Kat, Smarties, Mars. Bring it on.
Me too.
Okay. Kyle, we thank you for stopping by. As always, we appreciate your time. Meth more so than me, I think. But we hope to see you back for appearance number 3, the hat trick, in the not too distant future. We look forward to seeing you on the big moving picture box soon, my friend.
Triples is best. Thanks, boys. Good to see you.
Thanks, Kyle.
See you, Kyle. There goes Kyle Bukauskas from Sportsnet Hockey Night in Canada. As always, it's a good conversation. I don't always like just to chat hockey with him because he's got a wide range of things he likes to do. And I meant to get into some of his more away from the rink kind of topics, but we talked a lot of hockey today. I meant to didn't even get to Cole Caufield. By the way, are you surprised they sent Cole Caufield down?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, I'm not surprised because the team is struggling so much, Wally, right? I mean, with that record, you got to start shaking the tree a little bit. And some of those pieces, and it's funny, because at the National Hockey League level, sometimes when teams trying to shake up the group, it's oftentimes the vulnerable players, right? Like the players that don't necessarily have the same power as the vets on long-term deals. So they can afford, like a player like Caufield, for example, they can afford to send him down and get him down there. And it might not necessarily be that right play, but that's what you got to do. And so am I surprised? Yes, to a degree, I guess. But I had him winning the Calder this year. So my predictions are starting to turn to shit, Wally. I'm more often wrong than I am right. I'm really hoping Ottawa makes me look good tonight. But yeah, I mean, that's when you have a struggling team, they're going to make moves like that. So I guess it's to be expected.
It's interesting. Is that the right move? Is that the right move for his development?
Probably not. Like remember him in the playoffs? Like he did not look like an American League hockey player. That kid was like, it took him a while. The team finally figured it out. Yeah. Okay, maybe we should infuse the lineup with some speed and skill, right? Well, shocker, he goes out there and lights it up. Like he looked terrific in the postseason last year. So, we all know how the NHL works, right? And when you're a rookie and you come into the league, you're running on adrenaline right off the bat. So to the team's credit, they might be seeing stuff that we're not. And you can sometimes see that in players, particularly in their sophomore years, right? Where, the energy levels look a little low. He might not be looking super sharp in practice. You also got to read his body language and what he's looking like off the ice around the room when you're talking to him. Like, is he deflated? Does he need to be does he need a little kickstart? And sometimes going down to the American League can help with that, even if it's just for a couple games. It takes a lot of pressure off of him, right? He's going to go down there, and even if he doesn't play lights out, because it is a different game, he gets away from that NHL level of media attention and the fan base and all that stuff, can kind of hide out for a little while, catch your breath, hopefully come back up reinvigorated. So we'll see. I'm not against the move by any means. I'm just surprised that it happened to Cole Caufield, and based off of the play that we saw from him last year.
I'm not so sure he's going to get away from a lot of that attention, only because they're in Laval. RDS shows all the games. Obviously, right? Montreal, the Canadians, obviously the huge focus of RDS. Good
point.
It may not break that much for him. He will be under scrutiny for every game, I think.
Oh, yeah. No. There's no question. But it is a different animal than the NHL. But I do agree with you. They're still going to be all over him. The media is still going to be there watching him, ready to write that next article, shitting on him if he doesn't have a good outing or whatever. But, ultimately, what other choice does the team have? The team's struggling big time, and they need him to produce points. And if he's not going to be producing a whole lot, they figure, well, here's the logic. We're going to send him down, let him get some reps down there, some confidence back, and bring him back up, I guess. But I just, the counter to that, and this applies to the Sens prospects too. We were talking about Tim Stützle at the start of the year and whether they should let him start a little bit with Shane Pinto, especially, whether he should start in the American League. With the way the league is now, Wally, and I know you can kind of see it as well, it's so young and it's so fast that it's catered and geared towards these young players now. So I don't know how much they're going to gain from going down there. I think you really need to be in a rut to go down to that level. And that's kind of where I have an issue with sending some of these players like Cole Caufield to the American League. I don't know how advantageous it is for them. But again, I'm not watching them every day. I'm not there watching them skate and practice. So this is just sort of from a bird's eye kind of point of view.
Last question before I let you go, and that is we go from someone who's just starting his career to Chris Tierney, who's going to play, and I don't want to jinx it, 500th game in Minnesota tomorrow night. I know, but I'm not asking you about Chris. I want to know about you getting to that 500 game marker, because it's considered a huge milestone in the National Hockey League. So is 1,000. Yeah. But what was it like for you to hit 500 games?
And I'm not trying to downplay anything. I didn't care. To me, I should have played, the length of my career doesn't really match up with the amount of games I've played. I should have been well over 700, almost 800 games, but I had a couple big injuries that really eliminated my opportunities. But so that goes back to my point. 500 games is, it's a cool milestone, but by that point, you're already a vet, you're already established. I think 1,000 games, I would agree, is a really big deal. And it's something that you can genuinely be proud of. You can be proud of 500, but I think it gets talked about too much. 600 to me is just as cool as 5. When we come, I know as people, we like to dissect milestones and talk about them, but from my experiences, when I reached 5, I didn't think much of it.
Interesting. Okay, so let me put it to you this way. Would you have rather had 100 goals or 600 hockey games? And the reason I say that is, and I think it's Ray Ferraro who made the point, when people make a big deal about point totals, and that is, well, it's the games that are the bigger deal, because I have to get to play those games in order to make that point total, in order to have an opportunity for a goal or get an assist. I have to be in those games. So players who have played a lot make it seem like a game number is a bigger deal. Would you agree with that? Meth, do you not hear me? All right. Craig, can I bring you in, my friend?
Yes, sir. The old meth internet strikes again. Good for him. Oh, is he back there? He's moving around a little bit.
No, he doesn't hear us.
This feels like one of those where he's just going to shut his camera off. But that's good. It was good. Hey, great show today.
All right.
How good was Kyle? Kyle's great.
He was very good.
He was just in the chat, actually.
All right, Matt.
Kyle popped into the chat to say hey to everybody, which was very nice.
Oh, nice. Well, okay, we'll just let Meth go.
Yeah.
And then we got a couple of things. One is I'm trying to find out where he is. Oh, there he is. I want to show your picture if we can. Halloween. We didn't get to you off the top, but there is. We don't want to feel you left out. So we do have young Craig trick or treating somewhere, or not.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
yeah! Look at that handsome boy. Just his whole life ahead of him. Matthew back?
You guys all just cut out there. Technical difficulty.
It happens. We made it. Look how far into the show we made it too. No,
yeah, it's impressive. Right. I didn't think we'd go this far.
It was good stuff. Yeah. Anyways, look at the little star captain over there.
Yeah, we were just showing Craig's Halloween costume.
Oh, is that Craig? I can't even recognize him.
Look how sweet he is. He does no glasses, no beard.
So are you Captain? Is that No, that wouldn't have been Captain Picard. That was the second in command with the beard, right?
If you're telling me that I'm Will Riker, I will take that all day.
I think that's who I'm referring to.
Who slayed more than that guy? That guy was the best.
I'm a little young. I'm a little young for that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. He was he flew around space and he made out with sexy alien ladies, and then he'd fight people, and yeah, that guy's
pretty awesome.
Not a bad one to be. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, that's who I am. I'm Will Riker. I like it. Yeah, good stuff. Hey, boys. Done. Yeah, great show today. That was a lot of fun with Kyle there. Brent, were you getting a little annoyed with how well Meth and Kyle were agreeing on pretty much everything today? I could see a little frustrating brewing up there. The stakes didn't.
No, it's. I mean, it's nice that they're buddies and everything, but I need a little contentious issue. So you know what? Just pick another side. I fight with you all the time just to fight with you.
I know, but yeah, that's fair. It's hard to argue a point when, you know what I mean? There's nothing backing it, but in any case, yeah, it's all good.
Next time I'm going to come up with some, I'll work a little harder next time. Anyway, just a reminder on Thursday's show, Pierre Lebrun from The Athletic will be joining us, also from TSN. I look forward to talking to Pierre, who's got all kinds of stories to talk about away from the rink, hopefully.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one too.
Wally, we never talked about my Saturday night leading into my Sunday morning. I went to a wedding Saturday night, and it was an Italian wedding. We had a good time. I'll cut to the chase here. I was very responsible. Probably could have drove home, but I didn't. I made sure I got a ride. But my point being, I wasn't drunk or anything like that. So I thought I was smart, right? I get down around midnight, probably maybe 12:30. I get to bed, and I wake up 5 a.m. Bam, wicked headache. Like, I'm talking serious headache, to the point where I'm nauseous and borderline sick. So I had to go to Old Faithful and pull a Bauer again. I did 2 of them, 2 sessions where I'm basically in a fetal position on the shower floor with the hot water running for about 20 minutes. Then I go and sit outside in the cold air in my flip-flops and my underwear out front, sitting there like with my hand covering my forehead, trying to get cold air. That didn't work. I'm getting nauseous again. So I go back into the shower for 20 minutes. Still, meanwhile, the whole time, like, it's so embarrassing because my wife is like, "What is wrong with you?" And she's looking after my 2 kids, and all they want to do is play with dad. And I'm borderline going to puke all over them. I think I might have some sort of allergy to the alcohol. And I don't know if you guys can help me here, because I don't know what to do anymore. My brother and I are both the same. We have notoriously epic hangovers, and I barely drank. Like, I cut myself off at like 8 p.m. I think it was. Wow. I don't know what to do anymore.
Okay, so what did you drink?
Yeah, let's dissect.
Well, we went around the horn, so shot here, shot there, beer here, martini here, white wine, red wine. So it was like a swamp water. You used to go to like those slushy machines as a kid, and you'd ask for the swamp water and you'd get like every flavor. Yeah. That's kind of what it felt like. But I was fine, right? Like, I didn't feel bad. I ate lots of food. But yeah, man, wicked hangover. And at the end of the night, I think I had like 2 full pitchers of water before I left. Like, I just kept pounding them. So I don't know.
Huh?
It sounds like
this
you
happened
did it,
before. Like I know you've had hangovers before, but is this new?
I'm the guy. I'm the guy people make fun of, because I'm all like, when I played, I was the same way. People were like, because I would always leave early. I'm the guy that I don't like to drink that much. You know what I mean? Like, I could have a couple casuals at dinner. You feel a little loose. The shoulders start rolling a little bit, and then you go home. The shoulders don't continue to roll at a club. I just go home. And so that's why, because I just get epic hangovers and I don't know how to avoid them. It's a problem.
I mean, the only thing I would add to your regimen there is like pop a few Advils or something the night before. Oh, and get it out. Get it out when you get home. Don't wait till the next morning.
I can't do that, Craig. I can't, like, I'm good at I throw the digits in there in the morning and I let it go, but I can't, I never do it after the bar, because I feel okay when I get home. Like, I'm not sick. There's nothing sort of signaling to me that I'm going to be in one the following morning. Like, do you guys ever have these like bad hangovers where you have to go into the shower and just sit there and think about your life?
It's been a while.
I've had them, but I'm not recently. No.
Yeah.
No, I've never been a big shower, like, hungover in the shower kind of guy. I've just
somebody on Twitter called them Bowers, like Bowers. And so since the guy Yeah, I'd never heard of that term before, so now I'm using them, obviously. So if people are wondering what the hell a bower is, that's what it is.
Where you like close the drain and you let it fill up. And
I didn't get roofied. I was responsible the whole night. I was lucid for the most part. And yeah, man, I get up. It's like 5 a.m. and I'm like I'm in bed and I'm like, oh no, like I'm in one here. So I go into the back, sort of like to the point where you just can't get comfortable. Like it's like bordering on a migraine. So I run into the kitchen, I pop a couple Tylenol, and I maybe fell back asleep for like 30 minutes. And then I woke up and I'm like, this is it. I can't do this. But thankfully my mother-in-law had slept over that night as well. So we got through it together as a unit.
I'm not a big drinker, but I did. I had 6 tall boys of Whitewater's Farmer's Daughter actually the other night, Friday night, just playing video games with my kid. I was fine the next day. I was actually pleasantly surprised I wasn't hungover.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait. Oh, there's a Whitewater.
50% next order. Use the Wally Methot coupon.
Go
shop Whitewater.
I'm itching for that. Because, I can't play video games all the time, right? It's just the wife. Most people don't like that, right? Like you want to be. Yeah. But when my son, I should say, gets old enough, I feel like that's the perfect alibi where I can just play video games with them all the time. So my question for both of you, because you both have boys as well as girls, but mostly you have boys. What age can you start introducing them to video games? And I'm talking like any kind of console. I understand it's going to be a very simpleton kind of like kid game.
Here's the
age.
What age? The age is when your wife tells you.
That's nonsense. Come on. No, I don't. Okay. You guys can tell me though, like when did your kids start playing video games?
It depends. Like the early video. I like when my kids play Minecraft. If we're getting kind of off topic, I like when my kids play Minecraft because it's essentially just like video game Lego. I got no problem with that. So they started that pretty early, to be honest with you. Maybe 5-ish.
Okay, 5. That sounds normal.
I'm actually trying to push my son who's 12. I'm trying to get him to play more stuff because he likes to play Fortnite and stuff. I'm trying to get him to start playing Call of Duty so we can play, or even the new like NHL. Like get him into some more like grown-upper games because he's just playing a lot of these little kid ones.
And you can actually play with and against him. Like that to me is like that is like the pinnacle. Like that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yes. So my kid and I, he's 14 now, but we race against each other in F1 or whatever. Or you can play. He beats me in hockey too bad, so I don't play. But yeah, I probably, 10. He probably beat me at, so somewhere around 10 is my guess. Is a good video game guy. Yeah.
My little guy's 7 and he's pretty good at Fortnite.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if you start them young, like that's not a surprise to me, Craig. Like if you start young enough and you're like some techie guy, so your kids are probably more technologically inclined than most.
I had a funny moment with that the other day. They were talking about video games and stuff like that, and we asked them what they wanted to be, and they're like, my little guy said he wanted to be a YouTuber. I was like, get that out of your head. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, shit, that's what we do. Yeah. It's like, no. It's okay, I'm on board now.
Well, it's funny though, like there's money in that now, right? So
yeah, that's why we're here.
It's not a terrible thing to aspire towards, but it doesn't sound really nice on paper, right? When you're reading that, it doesn't look good.
Yeah. No, it was funny though. But yeah, it's good stuff. Brent, you want to do some trivia here?
All right.
I feel like we're
near
the end here.
Yep. Let's do that.
That was from the Ray Ferraro episode, which was another excellent episode that I enjoyed just kind of sitting back and watching. But we asked, which goalie did Ray Ferraro score his last regular season goal on? The answer, the Dominator, Dominik Hasek, formerly gave a stick to Brent Wallace one time in front of the media and embarrassed him, which is one of my favorite little stories. Shout out to Kyle Peterson, at Kyle Petey on Twitter. You scored yourself a Gong Show hoodie, so keep an eye on those DMs. We're going to slide in there, find out a size, and find out a way to get it to you. If you want to have more Wally Methot stuff get to you, head on over to their website at gongshow.com. Check out the Wally Methot collection, T-shirts, hats, the hoodies like we just gave away. There's some new stuff coming soon, I think. So head on out, grab something, support the show, wear it out, take a picture, tag us in it, and that'd be great because it's pretty cool seeing this stuff in and around.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So we got to let Meth go and get his Bauer on, and we will see you on Thursday. No? You're good?
I'm not Bauer.
Thanks to all our sponsors.
It's good.
All right. I'll stop there. See you guys.
You look great.